What does it do for you?
There's as we did last time, so I'm trying to figure out which ones everyone's going to see first, but either way, Big Sean and I did a brilliant men's health collab to talk about the power of wellness and meditation.
Right.
It was historic because it was the first time Men's Health are doing a train like me, but based on meditation. Ever.
Yeah.
It's always been physical.
Right.
And so me and you got
Isn't
to do
that
this.
cool, man?
It's so cool. We're going to do it together. It's awesome.
Crazy.
And so I love that. And, you know, we worked on that together. And I have 3 different types of meditation. So one type of meditation, breath work, is for my body.
Yeah.
So if I'm feeling like my body's tired, or I'm feeling like my body needs energy, or my body needs to relax, I practice breath work.
Yeah.
I then do visualization. So if I'm going into a scenario that causes me anxiety or fear, I will visualize not the perfect outcome, but the perfect process. So I'll visualize myself doing that process. So for example, if I'm about to speak on stage to thousands of people, I won't visualize people clapping and thinking you're amazing. I'll visualize myself walking up those steps onto stage, walking back and forth on stage, looking at the audience in their eyes,
connecting with them,
connecting with people and their hearts and souls. So I'll visualize that.
It's important.
It's so important. And then the third type of meditation I do is mantra. And mantra to me is what connects me to the universe, connects me to God, connects me to my soul. It's what connects me to my service to the world. And so mantra is my third. So I practice all 3 every morning.
Wow.
And each of them give me a different practice and different benefit that I need it for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I change my meditations up frequently from, I do mantra meditation sometimes, and sometimes I do just guided meditations that are specifically for me, maybe for that week, things I'm really like, not necessarily trying to accomplish, but things that I put in my consciousness, things that I want to approach right. But more importantly, it just gets me right for the day, man. It's like I said, it's like taking a shower, like after you work out and you take that shower and you feeling fresh, like that's what it does for my consciousness, my energy, and things just flow better. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm literally lifting my vibration up to a higher place of like just to be successful, you know what I mean? And it all starts right there for me. You can't do it a right or wrong way. There is no right or wrong in doing it. The fact you take the time out to just be with yourself, to breathe. Your mind is gonna race all over the place sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. You bring it back to your breath, you bring it back to maybe whatever you're listening to, and just the fact that you take that time out to breathe and to spend that time on yourself, you're gonna feel an incredible difference every time.
It's like a menu.
Yeah.
In the sense of when you go to eat at a restaurant, you don't want to eat the same thing every day.
Right.
So one day you're feeling like, oh, I need a little bit of this. Or one day you need a little bit of that. And so I think we have to look at meditation as like, okay, well, maybe I need to do an anxiety meditation today.
Yeah.
Or maybe I need to do a connection or a forgiveness meditation today.
Yeah.
Or an empathy. And I think we're living at a time right now where you can choose whether you're on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you are.
Right.
Janae has some phenomenal meditations.
Mantras, yeah, she
Mantras
does.
and meditations.
Yeah, we actually just did one where I led a meditation and she was sound healing at the same time. It was like an experience.
I haven't seen that.
I know. It was our first time doing it, so we were trying it out, but it's something that, we wanted to just test out and try, and people really enjoyed it and benefited from it. But it's so many different ways of getting that energy out there, right? Like that, right? So there is no right or wrong way to do it. It's just, I realized that it's the richest thing you could do for yourself. You know what I mean? And when I say that word rich, I don't just mean it like money, right? Because you could be rich in a lot of ways. And I've experienced people who are rich in money and still broke in a lot of ways. Broke meaning broken, right? But to me, the richest thing you could do for yourself is to not only just make yourself a priority, but to take that time out to be in the best position you can be in, right? And to not be so caught up on what you want, just to kind of put the attention out there, because when you're so caught up on what you want, it's so specific onto something, right? It's like, I want this new blue mug. I want this new blue mug. But at the same time, you're holding that vision of that new blue mug. It could be a green mug, a yellow mug, a gold mug that's sitting there waiting for you that's just as good or even better than this mug, but you're closing out all those possibilities. So it's important to, one of the things I do is I don't get so specific with my meditations. I just kind of say for whatever is best for me, or what's the greatest, for my happiness, for my joy, because that's where the real richness is. You know what I'm saying? We've seen people who have all the money in the world who have committed suicide, right? Or, the lead singers of groups, we talk about Chester, we talk about Anthony Bourdain, all these different people who, from the outside looking in, you would never guess, that they're going through something. And everybody is going through something. That's important as a society, that remember everybody is going through something. We talk like we don't care what people are going through, or like, they're not going through something. Everyone's going through something really, really important right now. That's really, could be really, really hard. And even if they show it or not. And I think that when you take the time to create a rich life for yourself, that is the best thing you could do, because when you take time to work on your internal, your external, it kind of takes the focus off trying to worry or have anxiety about the things you can't change, and realizing that the things you can't change you. So you get to that point of being able to go through anything. It's like having armor on, you're going through a storm, or having like layers on. It's like they can't even get to you for real.
Every time I hear you talk, I shouldn't be surprised that you just constantly drop bars, because that is what you do. But literally, there are like 7 things you just said that I want to like piece apart.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think you just mentioned, which was so powerful, was just, you were like, I don't get specific.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that's actually such a fascinating thing, because I think so much of what we're told today is be specific about what you want. Be really specific about it. And the challenge is when you get too specific into that extreme, then you can't see what's right there in front of you that could be better. It could be a different way. And I've always thought of it as like you have a projector screen in your head, which is your imagination of what it should look like.
Right.
And then you have reality happening here. And you keep looking for this projection, and you miss out, like you said, on the thing that's right there. And so I love the idea of not being specific, because it releases you from your own insignificant goal.
Yeah, it does.
Right? It releases you. If I got everything I ever asked for, I wouldn't be here today.
No.
Because my goals were way too small. My ideas were way too small.
Yeah.
And the universe and God and energy had way bigger plans for me than I had for myself.
I actually saw the interview you did with Lauren London, and she was talking about surrendering to the universe. You have to surrender, and you have to realize that, and if you are specific, well, then just always make sure in that, specification that you put and more, and I'm open to whatever possibilities are also available, or what other, options there are, if you are specific, because we can be specific somewhat, but you can't just be too specific and leave it there, like you were talking about. You can say, hey, I want to have the #1 podcast for, that talks about mental health and all these things, right? But this specification of that, it's even bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your show, everything you do is way bigger than that. And it's but you're open to all of those expansive options. So I just hope people realize that, like, whatever you want in life, first of all, wanting something is acknowledging the lack of it, right? So remember in our last interview, I talked about God gives you what you ask for. So you have to really understand that it's, I kind of don't say I want anything anymore. I don't say that anymore. I say I desire, or my intention. I don't say I want it, because I'm just acknowledging over and over that I don't have it. And I don't want to match that vibration of not having it anymore. So instead it's, this is my intention, my desire, and I put myself vibrationally on that frequency of already having it, already being there. And that, for me, works. I don't know if that works for everyone else, but, try it. If life isn't going exactly how you want it to go, which, is 99% of us in this world, try it that way.
That's powerful. For me, that hit right there, because I've heard people talk about what want means before, but the way you explained it when you want something, it often can remove gratitude. And that doesn't stop you from desiring. And that's what I love what you said. You say, I desire, I intend, or my intention is. It's not that you don't want to pursue or grow or evolve. It's just that the word want, as you correctly said, makes it feel like almost a sense of ingratitude for what you have.
That's right.
And the lack of it starts eating away where you're chasing now versus pursuing. I think of the difference between the word chase and pursue.
There's a difference.
Chase feels desperate. It feels like fleeting. It feels like if I don't have it, I'm incomplete.
Yeah, like I want this. I'm chasing this. It's like, okay, like I get that. And, you know, especially in the industries we're in, it's like, yeah, it's great to have that hunger. You know, it is good to have that, but it's never cool to just be desperate. Like, it's kind of like just always like realize those small things can make a big difference, especially when you're manifesting something, you know?
Yeah, I think that's great advice on manifestation. I think that's really powerful. And I liked what you said about...
I like what you said about gratitude, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me how important that is to you. Like, how often do you practice, like, gratitude? Because I wake up every morning and I'm like, thank you, man. Thank you, God. Like, while I'm still half asleep, you know what I mean? Because, bro, like, we're on the blessed side of the spectrum. Just the fact that we get to wake up.
Yeah. I think gratitude is a daily, multiple times a day practice for absolutely everything. I was saying earlier today to someone that if something went wrong today, I would tell everyone about it. But if something went right today, probably wouldn't tell anyone about it.
Right?
Like, so if everything in my schedule went to plan, no one would hear about it. But if everything in my schedule went not to plan, I would tell everyone, oh my gosh, my flight got delayed. And then I missed eating my lunch. And then I was late for this. And I would tell everyone about it.
And what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? It means that we are not noticing the greatness and the gifts in our life when everything goes to plan and we don't share that. You never go to someone, oh, it was amazing, everything went to plan. Like everything, like you wouldn't say, oh, my flight was on time, that's amazing. We expect things to happen well. And when you expect something to happen well, you stop feeling gratitude for it. You stop feeling like, well, actually, I'm really fortunate that this happened on time.
Yeah, and it makes it more pleasurable, right?
Absolutely.
When you got that gratitude, and you feel just better about it. Like, yeah, man, like.
Yeah, and I think also gratitude for everything from the smallest things. Like, to me, something I practice with my wife that's.
It's the fact that YouTube got so many.
It came naturally, and now I see it being beneficial. But if she's helping me out with something, or she does the tiniest thing, being able to be grateful for that rather than thinking, oh, well, you're my wife, I expect you to do that.
Right.
I just think the word expectation and the idea of expectations create a really unhealthy relationship with ourselves and with others. Right?
But yeah,
right?
Setting expectations, that's like the recipe for disaster right there. It's like, you gotta just, first of all, the gratitude and letting somebody know that they're, that's why I think every night, at least that I can remember, every night that I work, when I'm in the studio or working with people, I always tell my engineer, like, man, you did a great job.
I love
great
that.
working. You could just see that they want to keep doing a great job. Everyone who works with me, like, man, you're doing a great job. Like, and not from just like my managers and down to my assistant, to every person who's involved in my life, to my family members, my friends. I'll be like, man, you're doing a great job. Like, keep it up. And it just it's great to. And I mean it too. I'm not just saying it because
it's not
to
a
say it. No, I
technique.
mean it. If I didn't think they were doing a great job, I wouldn't say that. I would just be like, do better. but when they do a great job, you have to recognize that and not set yourself up for expectations, because that's a recipe for disaster, man. It's like expecting anything out of life. Even expecting to wake up, it's like you can't even expect that. That doesn't happen everywhere.
I don't think it's really
so.
I like it.
That's one I read the book, The 4 Agreements, and that's one of them. I think one of them was to not have expectations or something like that.
Yeah. I feel like also what you just said, whatever you recognize in someone, they'll repeat it. And it took me a long time to realize that if I make someone feel bad for something they don't do well, they actually get scared to try and do it right.
Right.
If you make someone feel guilty
Oh yeah.
for something, they actually get more scared. So I used to do this. My wife's the best example where I got this wrong for a long time. When my wife didn't understand how to, what I wanted for my birthday or something like that. And I would feel, this is years ago when we were dating, like I'm talking about like, I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago or something.
Okay.
And I would tell her, like, you don't get me, like, you don't understand me, like, that's not what I wanted. And I realized,
wow, that's harsh, man.
Oh, so bad, so bad, man, so bad. But I always thought that if I said that, then hopefully she would change and she would get it about how serious it is.
Yeah.
And then she told me years later that just made her more scared and fearful to try and get me a gift on my birthday.
Wow.
Because she just felt she got it wrong all the time. And so we think that if we keep telling people they're getting it wrong, then they'll get it right.
No.
That doesn't work. If you don't take the time to explain and to express
Communication,
and
right?
communicate and articulate what you really are looking for and why and where that comes from, if you don't do that work, you can't expect someone to read your mind and understand you.
Nah, you can't. We expect that so much from our partners, right? In
And
relationships. And everyone. We get attitudes with them, and it's just like you said, they don't know what you're going through. You don't know what they're going through. And on top of that, we're all just doing our best out here, man. Like if you honestly ask me, like, that's usually my answer for almost like, how have you been doing? It's like, I'm doing my best, and we all are doing our best in these times, right? The world is going through so many things at once. I was talking to Sai Guru, and he was telling me about how the soil is so messed up nowadays, like we're getting 40% of the amount of food that the amount of nutrition we used to get from food is we only get 40% of that now because of the soil has not been replenished, right? And that the population has gone from 4 billion to 8 billion people from 1960 to now, or 9 billion now, and soon it's going to go from 9 billion to 13 billion in the next 40 years. And they're saying that at that point, if we don't replenish the soil and take care of the oceans and many other things, that the famine is going to be not only at a crazy level we've never seen, but it's, food won't even be available.
Wow.
And, or affordable. And, I was asking him, like, man, how do we replenish the soil? And one of the things, there's a lot of ways that, I can talk about that another time, but one of the things he was saying that, as humans, we're supposed to go back into the earth. Mother Nature, Mother Earth, we're supposed to go back into and replenish the soil, and enrich the soil. And I was thinking how sometimes we, how we have like caskets and we like fill our bodies, our shells with, whatever it is, the chemical to make us last forever. But it's like, I'm never going to dig my grandfather up from his grave. It's like, he needs to be replenished back into the earth, because if you think about it, that's just polluting the earth at that point. That's almost like trash on the ground and no disrespect, I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. I just mean in a scientific way. It's kind of like a matter that doesn't dispose, I'm not trying to.
I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it is a very sensitive thing. To talk about my relatives or even my grandfather, who I love very much. But what I'm saying is, it would have meant just as much as he would have disposed back and became part of the soil and the earth. You know what I mean? And that's something to really pay attention to as the population grows and the space gets smaller and smaller. And we need to build more and more developments over the soil that we really need to be feeding ourselves and taking care of the earth with. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's something that the earth is just going. That's another thing the earth is going through, aside from the world, the possible world wars that could be upon us, and besides from all the conflict and the all these borders and just countries where slavery is still going on, and places is just, a crazy amount of problems on this list that, that the world is going through. And we just have to like really, really boss up and be our best selves and, take care of ourselves to present our greatest version to the world, to help out any way we can.
Yeah.
That's why this is so important.
Yeah. How do you process that? I'm intrigued, because I grapple with that a lot as well. That exactly what you just said. You look around the world, whether it's poverty,
I'm
racism,
trying out
war, potential
different ways to
famine.
do my makeup
Like, you've
because
seen all
like
of this,
I'm
and
in
I think a lot of people look
I
at
don't
all of
know,
that,
a weird
and
space
they
like
get
trying
really
to find like
overwhelmed.
what
They do.
is
And then
fitting
they
for my
feel
features.
helpless.
And
And these are
today
good
I
people.
just
These are
put the
people who
bronzer
care.
straight down the
They're
nose.
empathetic
And
people.
I'm gonna try out
But then when they see
something
all this, they
to
just feel
see if I
helpless
can
and
still
they
snatch
feel
it.
confused and they feel
Follow
disheartened.
me.
And then they don't know what to do or how to help, and then they feel paralyzed. So in that situation, how do you process this, or how do you think about getting involved? Because the way I think about it is I realize that working on myself, as you rightly said, that's not going to solve it, but it helps me bring my best to the situation.
100%.
Right? Like if I'm in a mess myself.
And it starts there, to me at least. It starts there.
Yeah, it's like if I'm in a mess myself, how can I remove any mess? The way it was explained when I lived as a monk is that if we ourselves are not trying to be purified, who are we to help cleanse anything? Right? So how can you cleanse something externally if you're not purifying yourself internally? It's not possible. But then when you do that, the whole goal of working on yourself, and I think this is what's often missed, the whole point of self-care is service. The whole point of internal purification is to help detox and cleanse externally, right?
That to me, the whole purpose of self-care is the complete opposite of being selfish.
Where's my blush?
You know, it's actually, like you said, a service to the world. So when you are overwhelmed with all the anxiety of everything that's going on, you're overwhelmed with your personal problems and the world's problems and just things seem to be too much. We all go through this. It is the most important thing to rely on the faith that everything is going to be okay. You know, and when you put your best foot forward, when you do take care of the extra steps to take care of yourself, to bring your best foot forward, you realize, like we talked about last time, that the faith that, you know, the reason that we're in this moment in the first place is because we have the ability to change this moment. The great part about being in any situation, whether you're up or down in life, is that it's an amazing opportunity and you have the ability to change every situation, right? So, you know, when you have that faith, like I talked about that invisible bridge, when you have that faith that you can just walk across and you don't really see how you're going to get across, but you know it's there, and you step on that, off that cliff and on to where you don't see anything and you still haven't fallen. That's what faith is, and that's what we have to have in each other as a society, and realize that the more conscious we are, the more we work on ourselves, the more steps we're taking to get to the other side of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how do you develop that? Because when I saw your face describing the faith and the invisible bread and the steps, when I watch you describe that, I can see that it's realized. Like it's a realization for you. This isn't just some idea or something you read in a book, or it's realized. How did you develop that faith over the years? Because it was a step-by-step process in being able to see that. Because I think a lot of people, if you try and fake that faith, it doesn't work.
Can't work. No.
It doesn't work. And if you try and avoid that faith, that doesn't work, because you need to have something. Like there was a amazing study I read recently, and they said that people who are involved in wars and stuck in trenches and stuck in the most difficult situations known to humanity, when they had false hope, and this is hope, not faith, when they had false hope, they actually felt more dejected. So if they had the false hope that we'll be back by Christmas, and they didn't get back by Christmas, that would break their resolve. But if they believed we won't get back by Christmas, but we will get back, that allowed them to have faith to actually move forward. That simple shift of not putting a timeline, not putting a deadline, not having false hope, but having that long-term faith. So I wonder, how did you develop that? Because I think that's something that's not talked about enough, is how is it developed? I know it's a lot.
Through life, through experiences, through setting deadlines, setting expectations for myself, and not realizing them from my worst fears, what I thought was my worst fear, things that I wouldn't ever be able to recover from, right, or bounce back from. It's like these things, when they even happen, you realize that, okay, I, in the first place, should never be mad at a timeline, because how can I be mad at a timeline or something not getting done or a deadline when I'm moving at God's speed? I'm not moving at my speed. I can set my intention. I can give my attention to that intention of hopefully getting something done, and may get done earlier. I may want to finish something by April and it might get done in February. I may want to get something done in April and it won't be done till next April. Who knows? Because it's unknown. But when we embrace that unknown, which a lot of us is hard to do, because, we always like to think about what's the worst that can happen instead of what's the best that can happen. I had to change my whole mindset to think, okay, what's the best that can happen? Because I don't even want to attract what's the worst that can happen. That's like such a normal saying that I'm like,
You always have to expect the best. What can you do? You gotta stay
that saying is
positive.
whack. I had to flip it over to what's the best that can happen. You know what I mean? Because I have 100% faith. Just the fact that we wake up every day, that everything is going to be all right. And get down to just the simplest things. I love how you talk about breathing, because you realize how much of a pleasure it is to breathe. If you hold your breath and don't breathe for, I can hold my breath for like a minute and a half, and you don't breathe. And then when you breathe and exhale and inhale, you realize how much of a pleasure it is for real to even just be here today.
Seriously,
breathing.
No, that's a real
I mean?
thing.
So well said. Yeah,
That's a real thing, because a lot of times, if that you notice, if that you're like stuck in the moment, or like if that you're going through something, the mind just start racing crazy, and you just low-key put yourself inside of like panic mode, and you don't breathe. Everything just go to fight mode. And that's how a lot of times like people get anxiety attacks and stuff like that, because they're not breathing. Their mind is just racing on like 200 miles per hour. And that's not good at all. So you have to really remember to breathe. And it's so funny because I was talking to this guy, and I was so surprised because he was a younger guy. Quick story time before I get back into the video. But he was younger, and he was just like telling me about like spirituality and things. And I was so shocked, because I remember when I started to think differently from people, and I was so like in this like newfound world, and I was super duper like nirvana, like nothing in the world could like touch me like mentally and stuff like that. And from then some things have changed, because that was a long time ago, but like talking to him and being around him, he was just like reminding me of my old self at the moment of mindset change. And he was saying things about breathing and stuff like that. And a good tip, if that you have trouble breathing, nose breathing. Never breathe through the mouth. The mouth is like only for eating. There's a book, it's called The Oxygen Advantage or something. And it talk about how like he taped up his mouth during sleep so that he can just like nose breathe. And once that you nose breathe, the body just get back into a flow state and like not so fight or flight mode. But anyway, back to the young guy. He was like telling me how a lot of times that he's in a constant state of meditation, and he breathes for and like holds his breath in for 4, and then he exhales for 8. And I remember like just like practicing that for a day, and I was like, wow, this is so crazy how you could really control your life by breathing. It just slows everything down and puts you truly present. And that's the real thing too. A lot of times that like you just kind of go on autopilot and the world starts to think for you and stuff like that. It get a little crazy, but back to this interview, because I'm gonna be talking for a long time, but I'm gonna stop right now. And I need to finish my makeup, so don't mind me.
We would choose to breathe over anything if you had to be forced to choose.
Right.
Right? Because everything else would not be an experience if you couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's not promise. Breath isn't promise, right?
Yeah.
Your lungs could shut down. The earth, the environment could change at any moment. You know, something, a natural catastrophe or disaster could happen, and that could be immediately taken away from us.
Recently, I was reading from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning again, and I think it's called 12 Gifts for Life by Edith Eger. So they both survived the Holocaust. And I was reading that because of what's happening in the world. And to me, at this time, when the world's going through these things, the only people I can turn towards are the people who've lived through it.
Right.
I often think that those are the people that can guide us the deepest.
Yeah.
And so when people ask me for my guidance at these times, I go, let's look at these people's guidance.
Yeah.
Because they were actually there. Like Edith and Victor talk about them being in the concentration camps, seeing people dragged, seeing children abused.
Just
like
imagine
this is
that,
all happening
like...
around them. And Edith Eger said something that I think you'll appreciate so much. She said, I realized, and I had to realize, that I wasn't the prisoner, but the guards were the prisoners of their own conscience. And she goes, when I realized that I wasn't imprisoned, the people who were being imprisoned by their hatred and imprisoned by their own pain and imprisoned by their desire to dominate and control and to abuse people.
I'm Cole, and I live in your house rent-free. Since you don't have a Vario ductless mini split from Della Home, you can use all the space heaters, furnaces.
That's the real prison.
The girls see a lot of money and get wild.
Like, you hear someone say that going through the most atrocious, horrendous thing they could possibly go through, but that was her mindset. She's still living. She survived.
Man, what a crazy thing to survive through.
Right, and to have that perspective. And she was saying that it was that perspective, it's what you're saying, that in that moment she had to rewire how she saw what was going on so that she could get through it.
Yeah.
If she just accepted it for what it was, she said she would have lost that resolve.
That's one of those lessons only life can teach you, right? That's one of those lessons, like we go through these things and these experiences that there's no other way to, I just hope that people realize when they go through things, it doesn't have to be such a traumatic experience or such a detrimental thing or such a, immeasurable loss or anything. It's, the fact that you're able to survive through the day. There was somebody who got murdered around the corner from, in the neighborhood I live in, and I'm just like...
Oh, you're saying actually, like, right?
Yeah, like yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, like in the same neighborhood, nice neighborhood, but my point is that we take for granted how much of a blessing it is to be here right now and to wake up and be here, you know what I mean? So, we learn these lessons, and I just hope that we can pay attention to the lessons that life teaches us. Because you have to really make a mental...
I don't know if that made it better,
you have to really
or not.
acknowledge what you're experiencing, or else it just goes in one ear and out the other. You have to learn the lesson, And even that story you told me, she learned that lesson while she was in that concentration camp in the Holocaust. She learned that, okay, you're actually the prisoner because you're trapped in your prison of your consciousness, and you wanting to dominate another person and trap another person, that is already a prison. I'm in here, I'm in a cage.
Speaking of that line right there, wanting to entrap another person. Okay, so If y'all don't know, one of my favorite artists is Larry June, right? And I remember, like, I used to write the free minds on my little papers and stuff because I was like big on that. And I was like thinking if I was to get a tattoo, I would get that, like the free mind. I don't have any tattoos. That's another thing about me. I don't do no ink and stuff like that. I mean, would I do it? It may be, I don't know. There may be a time that I may think about getting some ink, but if I do get some ink, that may be the tattoo. I don't know. But the free mind is a very, very important thing to have. The world is changing so much. People is different out here. For example, y'all know I'm a walking fantasy. I'm a woman of a trans experience. Life is changing for everybody. Things is new. It's just so much that in order to grow and to not be a part of hate and not to be miserable and not understand, it's really important to have a free mind because everybody have their own view for real. Like, it's really different. So that's really something to think about, is having a free mind. Jim de la Villa.
But I'm the one who's free-minded and free-thinking and, you know, has faith that I'm going to get past this and two totally different experiences, right? So just embrace the experience that you're going through and realize it. You know, we're releasing these bodies for a limited time only, right? Like, our experience here is very, very limited. So we have to make something. You know, we can't just sit around and watch other people live their lives. We got to go out and figure out what that means for us. You know, and how you do that is you do the work on yourself. A lot of people may be watching this and may not know what they want to do. They don't know what they're passionate about. Maybe they just like being on the internet all day. Maybe they just like watching movies and TV all day. But, you know, you can't figure out exactly what you're all the way passionate about until you actually try things out. I had to try things myself because I didn't really know what I was passionate about besides music. I had to go jump out of a plane. I had to like try new things, start working out. I had to, you know, do hikes and be like, oh, I really like hiking. Like, I really like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's one of the things, one of the quickest escapes people can go to is like drugs, right? It's like an instant escape and a way to get high.
Try Look a Logo Maker. Start by going to Look a Logo Maker. Choose your inspiration, the colors and symbols, and watch your designs appear.
But man, there's so many other ways to get high, you know what I'm saying, in life without using that. And not even to sound like, you know, corny or whatever people may think that sounds, but it's like there are a lot of ways, you know, that I've been high off life that a drug could never give me. You know what I'm saying? Like the type of high that is like God-given, that only the universe can provide.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so well said.
That's the best high.
It's so well said,
sure.
And you know, it's
not bad.
in the scriptures.
Honestly,
It's
I'm
called the
kind of
higher
feeling this.
taste.
Yeah.
Like the idea that it's almost like when you look at a child.
Mm-hmm.
If you give a child a popsicle, the child will want that.
Yeah.
And if you try and give a child a diamond or $1 million investment, they won't understand it.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I'd rather have this popsicle.
Yeah.
But then when that child gets older and matures, they go, oh, that investment or that thing could have been more valuable. And so what we see as a valuable experience changes as we mature. And it's what you said about experiences is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Radhi and I recently, we try and do something every month that we do that's random that we wouldn't expect to do. So recently we went to a rage room.
Yeah.
And I had no desire.
What's that like?
So a rage room, they give you baseball bats and lead pipes and stuff
I've heard
like
about
that.
this, and you smash
stuff up.
Yeah.
And so we went to that, and me and Radhi are both not angry people. Like, we're not aggressive people in general.
Uh-huh.
But we were like, we have to go experiment, because if we don't experiment, how do you know, right? You got to go check it out. So
was it fun, man?
It was hilarious to watch us, because we were both like, You know, we were both like not violent people.
Yeah.
And so we're struggling. Then we realized something really interesting. They told me afterwards, I wish they told me before. They said if you go there and you're stressed out because your boyfriend broke up with you, or someone's been rude to you, or you've been offended, then it will de-stress you. But if you go there when you're not stressed, the research shows that you leave stressed. So that was me and my wife. We went there not stressed, and we left with stress. It was actually stressful to cause rage when you don't feel anything. And so that was an experience that didn't go well, right? Like
but you gotta try it though.
But that's okay. You gotta try it.
Yeah.
And so
and the fact that you two were together, it probably it's something that you'll always remember, right?
Yes.
So in hindsight, it probably was a pleasurable experience.
Exactly.
Like
it's
later
a funny
on.
story now that we get to tell and be like, we did this thing, it didn't work out. But I think that's what you're saying, that we have to just experience more and experiment more rather than turn to the obvious things that we've seen over society, like as you said, like drugs and alcohol or any of these things that can become painful in the long run, as opposed to what you said, hey, whether it's going for a hike or whether it's doing this thing or that thing or whatever it may be. So I think that's just really simple, practical advice that anyone can follow.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm not judging anybody who does that too, you know, because how do we have? That's one thing I want people to remember too. Like, we don't have the right to judge anybody going through anything. When we sit up and judge each other all day on social media or in real life too, and you know, that's you know, I want to tie that back to another thing that I was talking about, because everyone is going through something, you never know, right? But that's not even it's a very conditional thing to try and keep up a image or a facade, right? And you know, even like money is such a conditional thing. Like, that's why when I say rich, yeah, you could be rich in money, but it's conditional, right? So when that money goes, you're not even rich anymore. It's like, if you took all the money away from me or anyone around me or my family, we are at a point where we were rich before we had money. You know what I'm saying? Because of the rich practices that we were taught, you know, which is, you know, to take care of yourself early on, which is a lesson that I kind of put on the back burner and went through and experienced life, and life was hitting me and beat me up. And I had to take a step back and reaffirm the things that I already knew, but really strengthen them up. You know what I mean? And that is being rich for real, you know, because money is conditional, and that's the energy we've assigned it. It's the currency of you know, our I guess you could say just our countries, our living, the way we live. But really, you know, time is like the currency of our universe, you know, and love is like the currency of all. You know, love is God, right? So I know I'm kind of rambling.
No,
but
you're not at all. No,
yeah,
that resonates, man.
Yeah, I just want people to get that though, man, because it's like, try not to judge. You're just wasting. When you judging somebody else, you're really just wasting your time.
Yeah.
You're really just giving somebody else your energy that's so valuable. You could be building You could be building a mountain with that energy. You could be building a mountain or a future or a career or something else, and instead you're really worried about somebody else or tearing somebody else down. And it just doesn't make sense. It's so easy to do though. It's so easy for a lot of people.
And it gives you a quick boost.
It gives you a quick boost.
Makes you feel good in the moment.
Yeah.
Quickly.
It does, because I think it makes people feel good in the moment, or, you know, I can't speak for people, but I think we can get obsessed with validation and like retweets or like a lot of likes or like getting a reaction or getting attention. But, you know, one of the things that I've realized is that people kind of put morals to the side. You know, they will literally leak something of you is very private. It could be a nude, it could be a thing, it could be something, and they put all the morals aside and be like, oh, this is gonna get a lot of attention, so I'm gonna put it out. I don't care where he's going. It doesn't matter what he's going through. Like, you know, but really, and I'm not just speaking about me, I'm talking about anyone. Like, that person could be going through, could be on the edge, and that pushes him over the edge. You never know. So just always keep that in mind. Like,
that's huge.
Don't like, it's okay to, you know, want a lot of retweets and want a lot of love and likes and stuff. We all, you know, we all do that. we're professionals, so yeah, when we touch and communicate with a lot of people and people
Cold.
show love, that's great. But
Oh,
I just wanted to I want to prioritize that, at least I do, and realize that my morals come first, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And what you just said is making sure that whatever we're doing is not at the expense of someone else.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like you want to act in a way that doesn't cost anyone else anything.
Exactly.
Right? You
yeah,
don't wanna
that's
make-
exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah, you don't want to make someone pay for what you behave as.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You never want that. And because none of us want to be in that situation.
No.
And I think that's what we disconnect with. And one of the things I had to learn
Mm-hmm.
is to learn to stop judging people who judge others.
Yeah.
So I had the judgment of people who judge, and I'd be like, well, you should stop judging. And I'm like, wait a minute, that is a judgment.
That's a
right?
judgment.
Like, that's a judgment. And so it's like, okay, well, let me meet that person with compassion.
And understanding.
Yeah.
Because we understand it.
Because I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can't judge. We only have to, like, at least I can only speak for myself. Like, I've learned to just stop judging people and realize we're all humans. If we weren't here to learn something, or if we were perfect, we wouldn't even be here. We would already be on our next on the next wave of existence or whatever comes next.
Absolutely. What's been the most recent thing? You were talking about learning life's lessons.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's been the most recent life lesson, big or small, that's come across your path that's kind of stayed with you or been on your mind? I just wonder because we always talk about learning lessons through life, and people think that they have to be these huge, big ones, but sometimes it's just something every day. But what's it been for you? Has there been anything that stood out?
Yeah, to have fun.
Nice, yeah.
To make everything you're doing fun.
Yeah.
Period. Because
that right there is important too, is to have fun. And this is for my people that's going so hard in life, because now is the time where entrepreneurship is thriving, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs and stuff like that. And I say that because a lot of entrepreneurs get so caught up in the daily hustle and the daily grind and stuff like that. And honestly, it could really be so rewarding, but you forget to have playtime. And that's something that I have to remind myself all the time, is to play. Y'all know I'm a feisty, fiery, freaky little girl. Little kitten, little cat. I don't even have time to get myself chill. But no, seriously, have fun at the end of it all, because you're going so hard, but for what? Yeah, to get the money, to take care of things and people in your family and stuff like that. Yeah, but you also have to have fun, because my mama said, I was talking to her, he was like, I'm not trying to get rich and die trying. And that really stood out to me, because it's like, wow, like people really chase their goals and things their whole life that they don't even have fun. They don't even do things. So it's important to have some fun too, guys. Note to myself, not just y'all. I have to have more fun as well.
we're here for such a limited time, and when we see somebody pass away that's close to us, or someone we idolize, our heroes, our family members, our friends, whatever, just, you gotta realize that, okay, I do work, but I need to make this fun, because that is the key to happiness, right? And I feel like that is, to me, the only thing that's real success, is when you're happy. So you gotta have fun with whatever you're doing. Like, you have to, and if it's not fun, you gotta make it fun, or do something else. Even if it pays your bills or anything. Like, you gotta, like, if you just approach it like that, I'm telling you, something that may be so depressing to you can completely change. That job you may have been working on. I've been doing this since I was 11 years old, by the way, making music.
Wow.
And obviously I want to do other things with my life, like how you were talking, I want to write a book.
I can't wait for that, man.
Yeah, because I've learned so many lessons, like from you or from Deepak. You know, I get to sit with Sadhguru and
From your mother.
my mom, especially. I get to sit with Janae. I get to sit with all these amazing. I get to sit with Marie Diamond. I get to sit with a lot of people who know so much, and I know that it's one of my life purposes to put that information into, you know, and all the experiences I've been through, all the testaments I've seen, all the just magic that I've witnessed in my life. You know, that's the reason I want to write a book. I'm not doing it because, oh, it's a cool thing for your career to do, like write a book. Like, I feel like I have to write a book because it's like one of my missions for humanity.
I want to read that book, man.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating hearing about everyone's journey to how they started going inward.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what's fascinating.
Yeah.
Right? Like, books are always written about the journey outwards. What did you succeed? What did you achieve? Where did you get to? But to me, books that are about the journey inward,
Right.
we need to tell those stories because those are the journeys we struggle to take even more.
Yeah, and those are the journeys that are a little bit more untold, right?
Yes,
that
and
we
unseen.
Unseen, that we need to relate to, and especially my people who listen to me. Like, I feel like I really need to do that, and but that is one thing I've learned though. To go back to what you said, is like to have fun with it. Make sure you have fun with it and make it fun. Like, bring whatever you think is fun to whatever you have to do. Like, if you think, well, I think playing video games is fun, well then bring that to work somehow. Like, figure out a way to like incorporate that, or figure out a way to balance that into your life somehow. Like, you can't let go of the fun of anything, because then everything just gets depressing.
Yeah.
You know, you get wiped out and you're not even doing a service to anyone at that point.
Yeah. And I think that's the interesting thing.
It's a simple lesson though, right?
It's but that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be this deep, profound lesson. Like,
usually the simple ones are the good ones. Yeah.
Like for mine, it's been
So this is the
prioritizing
training.
rest. Like, I love prioritizing rest and refuel. Like, one of my favorite things
man.
to do. Like,
that's something I still have not mastered.
like deep rest, right? Like
deep rest.
Rest, like letting yourself just have this deep silence, stillness, calmness, whatever gives that to you. I find like being able to, one of the things I really do enjoy doing, and I think it's fun, and that's why fun is such a wide word, is doing like a sensory deprivation tank.
Oh yeah.
So like when I'm sitting in a sensory deprivation tank,
and you can't,
all my senses are off.
Yeah.
It's actually a beautiful experience. For me, that's deep rest, and that is fun for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm no longer like dealing with any of the challenges or stresses or pressures. I'm able to just be, so inside it's magnesium and water,
that's
so you
right.
naturally float. For anyone who's never done it before, you can go in there for half an hour, 2
and
hours.
Black. It's pitch
dark.
black.
It's dark. Yeah. Some of them, if they're a bit bougie, they have the
lights,
the lights and the music, like a little bit of
moody
like,
lights.
Moody lights, moody music. But the idea is to just not let your senses be triggered. And I find that's what I crave, is letting my senses no longer be overexposed or overstimulated. One of my favorite things to do is look out into the distance, to watch sunsets, to watch the sunrise, to just look at the sky, because I find it's the least overstimulating thing in our lives. When you look at your phone, you're overstimulated.
Right.
You switch on the news, you're overexposed. Everything's overwhelming.
You gotta take that time for yourself.
Correct. I love to do anything that helps me
press it in there.
understand myself, that helps me underwhelm myself, you know,
Yeah.
that helps me
Unwind.
Unwind myself. That's what I crave, and I've realized that that's my reward to myself.
It's not just a luxury that's necessary.
It's a part of richness.
It's a part of richness.
Success.
It is. And I think that the mentality that I've experienced and that I've always had is like, you have to like stay on it. You have to stay on it, like, and almost to a point where I feel like I didn't deserve rest sometimes. I didn't deserve it. Like, I'm not almost finished with my stuff. I got to keep going. I can't, but that was totally the wrong. That was me coming from a place of desperation and not a place of knowing and having faith. Because, rest is one of the many joys of our life, man. Going to sleep, having that good sleep, like those, and by the way, that's the moment. A lot of times when we're in that deep sleep, those are the moments that a lot of visions and a lot of inspiration and a lot of ideas are transmuted to us, and we're just a vessel. So, that we sometimes we go to a higher place when we're sleeping and are at our most relaxed state, right? So I have been learning to get rest. I go to sleep kind of weird times, especially when I'm making music. Like I'll go to sleep at like 3 or 4 in the morning, which is terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is nothing like getting some good rest, man. Nothing like it.
But what you just
and
said
you deserve it, and people deserve it. People think that they don't deserve rest, or they work 2 jobs and all these things. Like, you deserve that rest, man. And like, longevity is better than anything. You can burn yourself out and go double shifts, triple shifts, don't need sleep, only need 2-3 hours of sleep, all that. Get your rest, man. Get that rest, get as much rest as you need, because when you're fully rested, that's when you can really make real waves in whatever industry or whatever dream you have, whatever thing you got going on,
Yeah, I was actually just about to say that. I think that's the most powerful thing you said there, as you were sharing that, the idea that we don't give ourselves permission for things we don't deserve. So we don't give ourselves the permission to rest if we don't feel we deserve rest. And a lot of us don't feel we deserve rest. We don't feel we deserve fun. We don't feel we deserve joy. And so we don't allow ourselves to have that feeling. And as you were saying, then you used that word deserve. I was like, I just want everyone to stop, everyone who's listening right now to this episode or watching this episode, to just stop and think, what are you not
blowing this powder everywhere.
Like you deserve?
Yeah, people feel like they might not deserve real love. I don't deserve a partner. I don't deserve the rest. I don't deserve to go out and have fun. I haven't been getting enough work done. Like, that's all crazy. None of that stuff is connected to each other, man. Like, take care of yourself first and foremost, and watch how more beautiful your life unfolds.
Absolutely. I want to ask you something though. On the flip side of that, I've been thinking about recently this idea of how do you do things
I'm gonna take some
that are good for you,
skin finisher
even when you don't
in the shade dark, and just put that
because you don't always feel like doing things that are actually good for you.
Right.
And so we try and avoid them because of how we feel right now.
Right.
How do you find yourself doing that with the gym, with meditation, with everything that you're saying, whether it's in the studio? How have you been able to go and get over that initial feeling of, I don't want to meditate today, or I don't want to sleep early today, or I don't want to work out today? How do you work through that voice in your head?
When it comes to self-care, it's not this, you can set a schedule, but there are times where you're going to have to wake up earlier. You're going to have to get right to something, right? You're going to have to maybe meditate later on in the day. You may not even get a chance to, but that's the beauty of, first of all, it's the beauty of the short meditations that me and you went over, like the 2-minute meditations, right? It doesn't have to be 15 minutes where, because I do things where I like write my goals down. I do this, I write my intentions for the day. I meditate for 15, 20 minutes. Then I sip my tea, I take time. I take an hour to myself, and a lot of times I don't always have that, right? Sometimes I do it later in the day when I do have time. And the days that I don't have time to do that, I'll be like, well, I'm at least gonna do this. There's a bare minimum. And even if it's a 2 or 3 minute meditation, or to be honest with you, there have been days where I was completely exhausted and did nothing. And honestly, I deserve those days. There are days where you turn your phone. I had a day that, like not too long ago, where I put my phone in the drawer. I had to leave it. I didn't pick it back up till like midnight. And when I was about to go to sleep, and I didn't go to the studio that day, I didn't do anything. I just needed time to myself. You have to listen to yourself. And when you listen to yourself, you have to ask, well, why don't I feel like doing this? Why? Who doesn't want to take care of themselves, right? And maybe you just need some time to just be lazy, man.
So
that's okay.
The good thing about
that is okay.
This skin finisher is that like you could use it for bronzer and like to set your makeup.
It's the fact that you know better. When you know better, you're already headed in the right direction.
And then I'm gonna use
when you don't take care of yourself, right? When you don't work out or you don't meditate, you're gonna be like,
further, no more bronzer.
I feel like I should have kind of,
and
it'll eventually get you right back on track if you're a disciplined person. Right?
Yeah.
So, which I advise people to try and be disciplined with the things that give you joy. You know,
those two things you don't feel like they go together, but
no,
that's
but
beautiful.
yeah, but you got to remember, having fun is a serious thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. You got to be serious about your fun.
That is actually it.
Yeah.
We got there. That was the idea of how you strike that balance.
Yeah.
You got to be disciplined about your joy. Fun is a serious thing.
For sure, man.
And I think that's what we lose. We go, no, fun just needs to be completely random. And then, you know, joy needs to be completely random.
Yeah.
But no, it's that concentrated, focused creation and development of that.
Yeah.
That goes in our life. At this point in your life, you know, we talked about this last time. We talked about your journey. We talked about where you got to, the reflection you had, the mountain you climbed, and then looked around and was like, well, is this it? Like this, you know.
Yeah.
At this point in your life, what have your new dreams, heart space been like? Like what's been going on in your heart and mind about who you want to be and what you want to do and what you want to create?
Man, I've really just been like, okay, how can I impact the world at this point? Because I'm in a position, right? I have a platform. I've done a lot of things I wanted to do musically, right? I've experienced like so many beautiful things. And I remember all I wanted was a song on the radio, right? But I didn't limit myself to that, right? By just being so specific. I always was like, I want a song, whatever else I could get, you know, whatever else comes with that. And so lately I've just been thinking, how can I impact the world? How can I use my platform to change the world and look back and be like, wow, that was something that meant something. That's something that my grandkids could look at and say, man, granddad really did that, you know, and make that impact to people or listeners or anyone that's tuned into my frequency. You know what I mean? How can I impact them? How can I make the best use of this opportunity, this life I have, this body I have? That's kind of where my motivation has been at. So I put that into my music. I put that into, okay, we're getting my book together. I put that into, you know, since these COVID restrictions are up, it's kind of like, how do I want to see people live? What experience?
You've been at Coachella this year.
Yeah, Coachella's coming up. Yeah, like what experience do I want to give people?
Yeah.
You know, and also to not take away from what makes me happy. And, you know, that's being with the people I love, you know, just figuring out how we can change the world and aligning my people, my team with that. And, you know, I'm looking forward to just living life. I'm looking forward to starting a family at the right time.
All right,
you know what I mean?
okay.
Yeah, and just...
We're going to time that.
Yeah, we got... It's all on God's time,
sync
though,
up.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, relationships are deep, boy. They are deep. But that is, to me, like, where I'm at in my life. You know what I mean? I'm not really trying. I'm not in the same place I was when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s. I'm in a whole different way of, okay, how can I impact the world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the opportunity that I've been given, with this platform I've been given.
Yeah. And that's such a brilliant acceptance because for so many people, when they get up the first mountain, it becomes about the second mountain. And then the third mountain. And then the fourth mountain. And they just keep climbing mountains. And it doesn't change how they feel. And so for you to already have that realization and go, the real mountain I want to climb is the impact and the service and the joy and the happiness. That's a beautiful thing. And we were talking about this earlier offline, but about relationships. And you know, your relationships obviously with Janae was something that you've been investing in.
Yeah.
Like it's been a commitment, it's been an investment. Obviously we've spent time together and she's been an amazing guest on the show as well. And I actually met her first before I met you.
Yeah. And she was the one who told me, like, you gotta meet.
And she's incredible. You know, and when I found out you two were together, I was like, this makes so much sense. But walk me through whatever you feel comfortable with. Walk me through some of the journeys in what it's meant to create a conscious partnership, and what's the real work that goes behind that. Because you know we all have our baggage and our trauma and our issues from our past relationships, our parents, so many things. What's gone into crafting and what you're trying to craft? Wow,
that's really deep too. About let's make sure we touch back on like traumas and things that we inherit from our parents. You know, because we inherit. I'll do that. We'll talk about that now.
That's
I
good.
can go to that. Like one of the things I've had to do in my life is clear some of the blockages that I've had, and you know, all in different ways, all through different people, and that's something that I may want to get more detailed in with people too, because people are going to say, well, how do I clear these blockages within me? And there are many, many ways, and many people that I've met with that have been able to, you know, help me. And you know, I used to have a worriment of money. Was one of them. Just
Oh,
like you
that
can
blush set
inherit
it off. That
your
blush
parents'
set it
hair, or you
off.
can inherit their eyes, or you can inherit their, you know. I remember my dad used to be like, "Oh, I used to smile just like you did." You know, it's like you can inherit a smile. You can also inherit someone's fears. You can also inherit someone's beliefs that aren't in alignment with you know, your own, and you feel very conflicted. You can inherit just a lot of. You can inherit pain. You can inherit racism. And you could be like, well, I'm not a racist person, but I know someone who's like, well, I'm not a racist person, but then they call every black person a kid. You know, it's good. That's a good kid. And I'm like, you gotta watch yourself a little bit, man. That's like, you know, just pay attention to that, because you don't refer to people who look like you as a kid. And so you might refer to somebody who's a kid that's the same age, almost the same age as you. You know, so it's like you inherit these things, you may not even realize it, right? And
I'm gonna bake under this eye a little more, and I think I'm gonna.
It's important to just do the work on yourself, because to push the next, it's like also breaking generational curses. It's like I broke one of the blockages I had, and now my family, we are getting more of our dreams out. My mom is doing things that she never thought she would do. My dad, my brother, you know, we grew up in debt essentially, and I had to break that. That was one of the blocks I had to break, was the block of money, of not be scared to have money, feel like there's a scarcity of money, and it's not. You know, it's all just energy, right? And you can have as much energy as needed, and clear all these blocks. But to get back to my point, it is so important to go through these blocks and these traumas, because when you pass it on to not only just the next generation, you pass it on to the people around you, your friends, your family. You know, you are the company you keep. And the more like-minded and better you are, the better everyone around you is, including your family, right? And you guys can have the opportunity to do anything that is possible, anything you want, any empire, any business, any ownership, things that you didn't even know was imaginable. But it all starts with you working on yourself, and that's the importance of, you know, the traumas. It's almost like, well, why would I want to correct, you know, cancer runs in our family, breast cancer runs in our family. Why would I want to correct that? Well, you want to correct that so you don't pass it on. And, you know, the vibration of cancer is a low vibration. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's important to take care of ourselves and get rid of that trauma. But, okay.
That was beautiful. I'm so glad you went there.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you went there, because the idea of being aware of what we're inheriting is so important, especially when you went that we are aware of, we inherit what we wear and how we think and how we look, but then how we behave, how we communicate, how we talk to people, how we think about people, how we think about women, how we think about men, how we think about...
Oh, that's a good one. How you think about women and men.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing.
Or them, how you think about trans, how you think about LGBTQ, like...
How you think about the
just how we
trans. You
think
gotta
about
change your
other.
mind.
I'm so glad you went there.
Because it ain't about
I wanted
you.
to say that. I'm so happy you took us on that.
Yeah. I can just imagine like aliens or people from another world being like, man, these people really trip that have different shades of skin. They really be like, they really kill each other over this. Like, you know, I've never seen a cow look at another cow and be like, you're a brown cow, you're a black and white cow, I don't want to be around you. Like, nah, they don't. It's like, you know, and it makes me realize that like if we kill each other and hate each other over things like that, or who we love, right, or things that even have nothing to do with us, then I wonder how we would handle an extraterrestrial or an alien, or really something that is really different. Like, you know, I'm like, maybe that's why the government or whoever doesn't ever want to really break it to humanity, because how are we going to react, you know? But that's a whole nother conversation. Well, I wanted to ask you something about relationships, because you go through times where you don't see your wife all the time. And how important is distance in a relationship, you know? Because I know some people may feel guilty, like not being with their partner all the time, or maybe even enjoying time away, you know, that could be a guilt thing, like, oh man, I'm really having a good time by myself, or also spending too much time with your partner and losing a sense of who you are and your individual self. So I look at your relationship. You guys are a beautiful couple. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that and idolizing that or anything, but that's just me making recognizing that.
Yeah, he's my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you balance the distance in your relationship, and is that necessary?
Yeah, I think for us, and I agree with you, by the way, like, there is no such thing as a perfect couple, perfect marriage, perfect relationship. So we should remove that idolization just with everything. Just as we were talking about earlier, I found that, I'll take a bit of a detour, but I find that as humans, we like to idolize or we like to demonize. So we demonize people. We go, you are terrible, you're wrong, you're the worst. Or we go, you're the best, I love you and I adore you. And sometimes the people we idolize become the same people we demonize when they let us down.
All the time.
All the time. And so we don't have this ability, which what we talked about as monks, just learn to accept. So when I look at my relationship, we found that when we first got married, I'd say in the first 2 years of our marriage, so my wife and I have been married for 6 years, and next year we will have been together for 10 years. So we've been together for 9 years now in total. And the first 2 years of our marriage, I reckon we spent in total 6 to 8 months apart in 2 years. And the reason for that was because my wife missed her family in London. We'd moved to New York because of my career.
Right.
And I wanted her to be with her family, to be happy, but I also wanted to be in New York so that I could build my career and build my purpose.
Right.
And so that became
Which is all valid.
Which is all valid.
Right.
She wanted to be with her family, which I respect and love, and I wanted to be here. And I said to her, I will fly back every weekend, every month if I have to, if that's what's going to keep this marriage together, because I don't think you should give up what you care about, and I'm not going to give up what I care about. We both should not give up what we care about the most because we care about each other.
Can you? Oh my God! See, one of the things, I'm not to cut you off, but people always say, "Oh, you have to give things, you have to sacrifice so much, you have to let go." Like, no, you can't sacrifice yourself to the point where it's torture. You know, you can't sacrifice yourself to where you're not yourself anymore. You know what I mean? And that's really important. Not to cut you off, I just wanted to add that in there.
Dude, everything you just added, I'm like, because that's the fine line. You just gave the fine line of you can't compromise when compromise becomes torture. Compromise is healthy. Everyone has to compromise. I may cancel a dinner, or I may reschedule my weekend. Like, that's compromise. That's
just being in tune with yourself.
That's just, exactly. But you just defined it perfectly. Like, you can't, sacrifice does not lead. If I gave up the pursuit of my purpose in New York, I would have been sad, depressed, and tortured, using your words. And if my wife was kept away from her family and couldn't travel back to see them because I didn't want her to, because she had to be with me in New York, she would have been tortured and trapped. I don't want that as my loving relationship.
No, that's not a union.
Exactly.
For
that's not a
today,
union. And
I'm
so
gonna use
what we
eyeshadow
found
as
is that we got
highlighter.
used to it, but we've got better at it. So at that time, we got used to it, but what happened is we would really disconnect. This was a mistake. We would really disconnect. We would barely talk, barely check in. And then when we'd get back together, it almost felt like we were strangers again.
Wow.
And so it wasn't good or bad. I just think we had to get better. Like, today it's changed. And so I just want to put that out there, that when we first got married and we did that, I don't think we had the healthiest version of distance. And this is my point, that you can evolve and grow and learn. And then it was COVID, right? So during the pandemic, we lived together for 2 years and we saw each other every day. And that was amazing. It was actually brilliant, because that was the first time in our lives that we'd spent every day together for 2 years. And it was beautiful. We loved it. And now, this year, I will have been away from my wife when she finally gets back. But she's been working in London. I've been in LA, where we currently both live. But we would have been apart for around 4 months. And maybe we've seen each other once in 4 months, hopefully. And we'll go on this mini vacation together. I feel this time we both found a healthier way of being distant. So she's in London because she's working, and that's her purpose. I'm in LA because that's where my purpose is. Again, I respect her purpose, and she respects mine. I value her values, and she values mine. And if I had to give up mine and be there for 4 months, or she had to give up hers and be here for 4 months, I wouldn't feel happy because I know she's not happy. And she wouldn't feel happy because she knows I'm not happy. So what we've realized is that in the times we're apart, we can both be more productive. We get to catch up with our own friends and deepen those bonds and connection because we both have more time. I find that I miss her every day. I have never texted my wife this much since we were dating. I haven't called her this much since we were dating.
Just go in and blend
Because
out
now
the
it's like I wake up in
bronzer.
the morning, the first person I call is her. I don't do that. She's next to me, right?
Right.
The last thing at night, I know she's already asleep in London, but I'm messaging her messages so that when she wakes up in the morning, they're the first thing she sees. It adds a beautiful dynamic, and there's something really beautiful in the Bhakti tradition, which is based on love and devotion to the universe, the divine. And it talks about how love in connection is beautiful, but love in separation is one of the most beautiful experiences. To want to be back with your beloved and the person that you love, that's what all the songs are about.
That's what all the songs
That's
are
what all
about.
the music's about. Like the missing of someone, the yearning of someone, the separation from a loved one is sometimes where you get to experience the deepest joy and even process some of your biggest fears and weaknesses. And that's what I find, that when I'm away from my wife, I have to process my weaknesses and my fears head on. And that I find to be joyful because it deepens my love for her. And so I personally find that distance and personal time is critical. And the way I define it for someone in a week, because someone may say, well, Jay, we don't work like you guys where we're away from each other for months because we live in the same home, we don't have careers that take us across the world. I believe, and I've been planning this out, that here's an ideal 7-day week, right? You should ideally spend 1 to 2 days by yourself, with yourself. Even if you're married, even if you're dating, have 2 nights a week that are for you.
Even if you're in the same house.
Same house. Have
These
2 nights a
different
week
places.
separate that is for you to listen to your inner voice. That's 2 nights a week. Now have 2 nights that are together, just you two. Date nights, experiments, events, whatever it is, but just you two, so that you develop and you water your intimacy. That's 4 nights. And you've got 3 nights left. In those other 3 nights, 1 night you spend with your own friends. So she's with her friends, I'm with my friends. And then the other 2 nights we're with a collective group of friends. Friends that we share. Now you can make your own ratio of your 7 days, but notice how the ideal 7 days include time alone, time with each other,
Look at my slipper in the
time
back.
with your own friends and family, and time with collective friends and family. If
The
we
base
can't
8,
look
thank you,
at our
babe.
lives and say we do all of those, it means we're not watering a really important part of our
Like this, I
relationship.
look a little
If I don't
different.
water myself, I've got nothing
That's
to
gonna
give.
come up later.
Yeah.
And that you're gonna feel is
Love it.
hurting you. What you're talking from is like, from experience. I can see, like, this isn't like a textbook formula. This is some experience that you guys have been through and that you made it through. So I respect that, and I realize that the crazy thing about being in a relationship and having distance between you is it really can bring you closer to the one that you're missing.
I don't know my
Kinda,
lip
it's
liner
almost-
is at the moment,
I would
but
say
guess what?
almost a
Makeup
great
is
test to
bonus.
see how close you really
Like
are.
that trick is
You know what I mean?
anything
Because
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We're
And
over here today.
when I
Next
do
up,
an
new female
eyeshadow for your
focus.
lip
This
liner,
is one of the pieces
since
from
it's
their
powder,
line.
it'll last all day long.
Today I brought the Savannah belt. It's the female focus product from Next Belt. There are quite a few female focus belts now, but this one being my
And
favorite
it gives you a
because I'm
lot of
little
like
bit
definition.
hunted.
You'll see.
The cool thing with these belts is they come one size fits all.
waking up next to him every day. So I think it's beautiful to give each other that time apart. And that's when you really know when that person is still all you want that's who that's special for, you know. And I definitely have been able to experience that, so that's a beautiful thing, you know. And it's a key part in any relationship. I think in any marriage, the key to it is having some distance between, you know what I mean, and and having someone who you energetically match with.
Yes.
You know, one thing
that's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing right there, because this is funny because I don't know how to even say this. Say this properly, or I don't know whatever. But I'm gonna just say, like, when you have sex with someone who you feel you guys are equally energetically on the same level, that's how it's really supposed to be, right? Because in other ways, I just hope people realize that, because if you're not with someone who you energetically feel like you're on the same level with, then that person could be taken away from you. It could throw you off track. It could uninspire you. It could do all these crazy things. So it's important to realize the power of that energy that you have when you're with somebody who can match your energy.
Definitely.
Sexually.
No, absolutely. And I'm so glad you raised that, because so the Sanskrit word for celibacy is brahmacharya. Now, celibacy in the Western world sounds like abstaining from sex. That's what you think of the word celibacy. Brahmacharya, it translates as the proper use or direction of energy. When you talk about a poor energy exchange, when you're just wasting energy, when there isn't an equal energetic exchange, that's why we feel drained, we feel depleted, we feel...
Or afterwards you're like, oh, this is a waste of my time. Or
totally,
like, however you feel. Like,
how many years later it takes.
And
But when you have someone of equal energy exchange, that impression is so much more powerful and deeper. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because I guess the question though is, like, obviously when you meet someone, we're all at different stages, even in our vibrational energy.
Right.
How do you know? Because today we live in a world where anyone can use the language, everyone can say the word energy,
right.
Everyone can use the word vibration,
right.
Everyone can use all the lingo, and you think, this person, like, he's reading about chakras,
and then I'm done,
right?
Honestly.
How do you actually know that someone is of a similar energy in a relationship? Like, how do you look for that? Because, and I don't think there's a formula or there's a perfect science. I'm just saying, how do you look for that, or how have you found that and looked for that?
It's only one way: feeling it. It's simple as that. It's something you feel, and you have to really be in tune with yourself, right? That's another reason why working on yourself is so important, because the more you're in tune with yourself, the more you're able to feel like this isn't right? And it could make sense in a lot of other ways. You could be like, oh, this person is my ideal of, like, the perfect person in my head, you know, like physically, but it just doesn't, well, I don't care. Like, you disregard those feelings when you put that egotistical spin on things, right? Or you put the image, or like the expectations, or things, check marks you think you should be hitting, but it's really just a feeling process. And when you realize, you know, when you have the feeling of that, feeling like you're being productive, you know,
I feel like a brat
like, I'm not ever gonna, like, physically be involved with anyone if it's not productive, you know. And I feel like I'm being productive, you know what I mean?
So oily.
And that's how you should feel with your partner. Like, you feel like you're being productive, you know, and you feel you have a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything else is just kind of like, you know, you think that you make and fun. Fun, and it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not fun, productive, and all these things, and, you know, if you feel weird or feel like you're wasting your time afterwards, then that's probably not right for you, you know. And you can eventually kid yourself for a little while, but eventually you're gonna move on, or something's gonna happen.
It's fire.
Yeah, I think one of the things I look for in energy exchange.
Wait, I need to blend out the bottle. That bottle might get blended out, y'all.
AI-powered platform turns your vision into a unique logo. Start by going to Logo Maker. Choose your inspiration, pick colors and symbols, and watch your designs appear. Easily customize fonts, colors, layouts, and more.
They're
Done.
pink, and I
Delivered
need
in
them to
all
be
of the
pink.
formats you'll need. Lucas technology makes every
I want them
design
to be
unique.
pink.
Stand out with a logo.
In every level is the idea of, you know, it's almost like how long have your energies been invested together deeply.
Mm-hmm.
When my career started to take off, I would often point to an achievement and look at my wife and say, love me for this. Look
Right.
at what I did.
Right.
And then I'd win another award. I'd be like, look at this, like, love me for this. And she wouldn't feel anything. She wouldn't respect me for, like, she wouldn't care about that.
Yeah.
Not that she wouldn't respect me, she wouldn't care about
She
that.
wouldn't care about that.
And
She would be happy for you.
she'd be happy for me, but she
Yeah.
didn't care about that.
Yeah.
She didn't love me for that. But I was saying, validate me for this, love me for this. And then I realized that I was trying to get her to love me
All right.
for what my achievements are when
I
she
am
loved me
now
for who I
done.
am.
Isn't that beautiful?
Like,
though?
that was the most deepest reminder to me that my wife's been with me
Thank
since
you.
when I was in $25,000 worth of debt,
Yeah.
when we were 4 months away from being broke, when I was pursuing my purpose and no one cared, and I had 5 people turn up to hear me speak. And
That's
my
the
wife's
one
been
I'm
through
saying.
all of that, and she loved me then, and she loves me now.
It's giving you something more serial, more deep today. That's how I'm feeling. I got the all black on, you know, it's giving body cutouts. So, you know, I'm coming through killing, you know, something slight. That was nothing. But, yeah, a little smoky eye, a little heavy nude on the lip, heavy on the blush today, too. Eyes is dark today. It's raining outside. It's a bit cold. So I'm emulating the weather with a twist of half and half. Superpower. Heavy on the lips. No, seriously. But, okay, cute. Love you guys. And y'all know I'm gonna be back on here soon to give y'all another tutorial. I hope that y'all be following and stuff like that, and y'all like my techniques. I feel like today I really pushed the product into the skin, and it's giving more of an effect. I used e.l.f. Primer Grip, the power one, and I like it. It's cool for now. I am a more oily girl, so I need to go get me some primer that's good for oil, because I like a really matte look these days. And like right now, this is pretty. This is a nice finish, but like all up in here is too shiny. I want that to be matte. So let me see if I can do that really quickly, because I don't like the shine. I used to like that look, but I don't really like that no more. I'm gonna just try to pat some powder right there. See, look at the difference right now. That's the matte side. You see what that's just giving more, and like that's the kind of wettish, dewy area. I don't really wanna give that. So I'm gonna go on and buy me some primer today. And that'll be our new item of the week tomorrow. See, around here I'm getting oily already, and I don't want to be oily. The only thing I want wet on my face is my white eyeballs and my lips. I don't want anything else to look like dew or oil. And I think a lot of times too, the setting spray has a lot to do with that. So, see, you see with that matte, just give it a more professional effect. Y'all are gonna be so sick of me, because why? I just feel like I needed to bronze my other half. I didn't bronze up real quick. I'm gonna bronze up. I'm gonna just snatch. Do a little more bronzer really quickly. Yeah, just to snatch it a little bit more. Because I was saying I didn't have to put it on since I put on the skin finisher, but sometimes... Okay, there we go. I'm done now. All right, I'm done. Love y'all. I'm about to go fix the hair and head out. Y'all having a good day. It is, what is it, Tuesday? I don't know. Wednesday or Tuesday. Have a good day. Stay confident, happy, sexy, all of that good stuff. I'm going to be back on here tomorrow. And if that you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And do not forget to what? Turn on the notification bell so that you do not miss another video. And thank y'all so much for feeling this look. And I shall be back tomorrow. Bye, everybody.